In this video, we're going to talk about the different types of cell organelles. So there are certain common trends in all cells. So cells are the smallest unit that is capable of performing life function. So the common units in a cell are the mitochondria, the ribosomes, the DNA, and the Golgi bodies, and the endoplasmic reticulum, among other common organelles. So when we compare cells, the size and shape of a cell relates to its function, the job it does. For instance, the RBCs have a specialized shape, which is like which has two caves in them. So it's just like you can see here. There's one cave on one side, and if you look at the trans side, the other side, it will have a similar cave. So this shape is there so that the RBC can perform its particular function. On the flip side, bacteria, it's also nerve cells is a different type of cells, and you can see these cells have different extensions, and this type of cell shape helps this cell to perform its normal function. Egg cell is like that, it's different in shape, and you can see the plant this type of plant cell has different function, and these are muscle cells, so they're elongated this helps to perform the function of mobility in muscles. So prokaryotic cells are cells without membrane bound structure. For example, some bacteria and plants come. While eukaryotic cells are cells with membrane bound structure. So the organelles that are present in eukaryotic cells will have, some of the organelles that are present in eukaryotic cells will have membrane bound structures, while the organelles in prokaryotic cells, they sometimes lack the membrane bound structure. These membrane bound structure can include mitochondria, chloroplast, endoplasmic reticulum, Golgi bodies, etc. Eukaryotes are present in animal, plants, fungi, and protists. So now going into different types, different components of a cell. So cell wall, so starting from the outside, cell wall is the outermost component, and it protects the cell, gives shape, and is made of cellulose, and a cell wall is found in plant, algae, fungi, and most bacteria. So this cell wall, is we already discussed on this point, they are not present in animal cells. These cell walls are the outermost boundary of a plant cell, an algae, fungi, and some bacteria. So these are rigid in structure, and they can be made of cellulose, or in some other cases, for instance, fungi made of other material, and they help to protect the cell in a physical form. Cell membrane is another boundary. It's like, so from the outside, cell wall, and then cell membrane. It's the second membrane in plant, fungi, and some bacteria, while in animal cells, this is the outermost membrane. So it's the outer covering protective layer around all cells. So it is present in all cells, but in plant cell, it's not the outermost, it's inside the cell wall. But in animal cells, it is the outermost layer. And from cell wall, the cell membrane is inside the cell wall, which is what we said, allows food, oxygen, and water into the cell, and waste product out of the cell. So it provides a barrier, but it's also work as a gate to facilitate the transport of substances across into and outside the cell. So cytoplasm is the next important component of a cell. So if we assume this to be the cell, then the region from the cell membrane, if this is cell membrane, to the nucleus, or in simple words, if this is cell membrane, then all this jelly-like fluid, all this region is called a cell cytoplasm, and this cell cytoplasm contains different cell organelles. So gelatin-like structure which is inside the cell membrane. It constantly flows, so it's fluidic in nature, and also known as protoplasm. So you can imagine if a glass is the boundary of a cell, it's a cell membrane, and if you put water in that glass, that water is the cytoplasm, and inside the water, if you immerse sugar or other small substances, then just like that, this cytoplasm contains the rest of cell organelles. So cytoskeleton, they are scaffold like structure in cytoplasm, helps the cell maintain its shape, or helps the cell change its shape, and are made of protein. So just like we have bones in our body to help keep our structure exactly in that manner, the cell has cytoskeleton. This cytoskeleton is responsible for maintaining the structure of a cell and also to allow the cell to change its structure if necessary. In this diagram, these fiber-like lines, they represent the cell cytoplasm. Nucleus. So this is the brain of a cell. If we assume this to be one cell, then this is the nucleus, and this part of the cell, sorry, I shouldn't say brain, the head. So this nucleus is the head of a cell, and this head directs all cell activities, contains instructions for everything that the cell does. These instructions are found on a hereditary material called DNA, usually the largest organelle. So just like our brain, our head, nucleus controls and directs the cells what to do. So the nucleus contains the brain, which in terms of cell is the DNA, and it helps direct the cell towards a particular task. Nuclear membrane. So nuclear membrane is it's just like cell membrane, but it is present around the nucleus. So if this is the whole cell, this is cell membrane, this is the cytoplasm, and this is the nucleus, then the membrane separating the cytoplasm and the nucleus is called nuclear membrane. So as we said, separate nucleus from cytoplasm, controls movement of material in and out of nucleus. So just like the cell membrane controls movement of material inside the cell, this nuclear membrane controls the movement of material inside the nucleus. NUCLEOLUS. So this is a nucleus. So imagine this is a structure of closed focused structure of a nucleus. So this condensed part is called nucleolus. It contains condensed form of the DNA material. So most of the DNA material in this condensed form, which are called chromosomes, are present in the nucleus, and it's found in the nucleus, in nucleus and aka little nucleus, because it is present inside nucleus and contains the DNA material. Chromatin. So chromatins contain genetic code that controls a cell made of DNA and protein. So chromatin is actually a condensed form of the DNA. Chloroplast. So these are only present in plant cells and some algae. So these chloroplasts are actually responsible for converting the sunlight into organic energy with the help of water and carbon dioxide, and in the meantime it produces the oxygen that every living organism requires. So these are green organelles that make food and are only found in plant cells, but they're also found in some algae, green algae, which you can see on ponds or on the surface of water. Chlorophyll is actually the material present inside the chloroplast. So it's a green pigment that gives leaves and stem their color, captures sun energy that is used to produce food called glucose, and glucose is a type of sugar. So chlorophyll is the functional unit of a chloroplast. Mitochondria, it's like the powerhouse of a cell. So organelle that release energy from food. So chloroplasts are actually responsible for making glucose, while mitochondria convert the glucose into chemical energy. Mitochondria are only present in plant cells, while chloroplasts are only present in plant and algae, but mitochondria are present in every cell, because every cell, if you consider that as a machine, requires energy, and these mitochondria provide the energy. So this energy is released by breaking down food into carbon dioxide and ATP, which is the energy that the cell need. It's not the powerhouse because it releases energy, and some muscles have 20,000 mitochondria. So the number of mitochondria in a cell varies based on the necessity. For instance, a muscle cell will have more mitochondria compared to a neural cell. Ribosomes. These are also critical for normal functioning of a cell. So ribosomes, the sites or the cellular structure that are responsible for making proteins. They either float freely or are attached to the endoplasmic reticulum, which is another cell organelle, another cell structure, and these ribosomes are made in the nucleus of a cell. Endoplasmic reticulum. So as you mentioned in the previous slide, endoplasmic reticulum, one of its function is to attach the ribosomes, hence to allow them to produce proteins, and these are a series of 4 membranes that move material protein around the cell, and like a conveyor belt, and they act like conveyor belt for the cell. And it has 2 types: smooth endoplasmic reticulum and the rough endoplasmic reticulum. The rough endoplasmic reticulum have the ribosome attached with them, while the smooth endoplasmic reticulum don't have ribosome attached with them. Golgi bodies. Golgi bodies like the waste factories of a cell, so they are responsible. So they arise from the endoplasmic reticulum themselves, and they are stacked a flattened membrane and a sort and pack protein. So Golgi body have 2 main functions. One, it actually is responsible for the transport of protein from the ribosome, where the proteins are produced, to the site where the protein needs to perform its function. So it's like a car for the cell in that perspective. Vacuoles. So vacuoles are temporary storage spaces and stores food, waste, and water. So vacuoles, they're usually small in animals and big in plants, but their primary function is to act as a storehouse for the cell. In this case, this is presumably a plant cell, so the vacuole has a bigger size. Yes, it is a plant cell because they're chloroplast, so the vacuole has a bigger size. If it was an animal cell, then this vacuole would be very small, probably smaller than this chloroplast. Lysosomes. So the word lysosome is Latin for kill body. So this is a defense. This is a cell structure that is responsible for the defense of the cell itself. So it's the soldier of the cell. So it acts as a police or the soldier. The purpose of the lysosome is to digest things. They might be used to digest food or break down the cell when it dies. Break down food molecules, cell waste, and worn out cell parts. So yes, that's what we said. So a lysosome, it's actually a membrane bound structure. So when a cell recognizes a food or a pathogen inside its cytoplasm, it moves it to the lysosome, where it kills the invading particle. So finally, as we said, cell is the basic unit of life, and then a combination of cell makes a tissue, and a combination of tissue makes an organ, and combination of organ makes an organ system, while a combination of organ system makes an organism. I hope this video was helpful. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to ask and leave them in the comment section. Bye.